Hey, tragedy enthusiasts, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're plunging into the royal court of Elsinore to tackle arguably the most famous, most analyzed, and most debated play in the English language, William Shakespeare's Hamlet. This isn't just a simple revenge story, it's a profound, complex masterpiece that asks the deepest questions about life, death, morality, and action. Why does Hamlet, a brilliant prince, spend 4 hours of stage time contemplating a murder that takes 5 minutes to execute? His struggle with the iconic question, to be or not to be, has defined Western thought for over 400 years. Hamlet is a political thriller, a psychological drama, and a philosophical treatise all wrapped into one glorious bloody package. We're going to trace the prince's spiral from grief to feigned madness, dissect the toxic political and familial environment of the Danish court, analyze the play's crucial themes of delay and appearance versus reality, and of course, follow the ultimate, tragic path of revenge. But first, if you're ready to dive into the mind of the great melancholy Dane, please take a moment to hit that like button right now. Drop a comment below and tell me, what is the most famous line from Hamlet that you can quote from memory? And, as always, subscribe to the channel and ring that notification bell so you don't miss our weekly deep dives into the classics that shaped literature. The play opens in the bitter cold on the ramparts of Elsinore Castle, Denmark. The atmosphere is immediately thick with foreboding. The country is already tense, preparing for a potential invasion by the Norwegian Prince Fortinbras, a foil to Hamlet who represents decisive, direct action. But the real crisis is internal. Old King Hamlet has been dead for only 2 months, and his brother, Claudius, has wasted no time. He has seized the crown and, in an act deemed incestuous and deeply offensive by Hamlet, has married the dead king's wife, Queen Gertrude. The rapid nature of this transition, the hasty marriage, is the first symbol of the rotten state of Denmark. We are immediately introduced to Prince Hamlet, dressed in black, mourning profoundly, while the rest of the court celebrates. He is an intellectual, a student, and a philosopher, a man of thought, not action. He despises his uncle, views his mother's rapid remarriage as a betrayal of his father's memory and of all decency, and is consumed by a deep existential melancholia. His world is already dark, but it is about to be shattered completely by a supernatural event. The guards and Hamlet's friend, Horatio, reveal that they have seen the ghost of old King Hamlet haunting the battlements. Hamlet confronts the specter, who reveals the shocking truth. He was not killed by a snakebite, as officially announced, but was murdered by his brother, Claudius, who poured poison into his ear while he slept. The ghost issues a clear, unambiguous command: revenge his foul and most unnatural murder. The ghost charges Hamlet to remember him and to leave his mother's soul to God, focusing his vengeance solely on Claudius. This moment transforms the play from a study of grief into a tragedy of revenge. Hamlet, realizing he cannot openly accuse the powerful king without proof and without immediate execution, adopts a mask of insanity, his antic disposition. This strategy serves multiple purposes. It offers safety, allowing him to speak dangerous truths under the guise of foolishness. It allows for observation of Claudius and the treacherous court, and it is a self-defense shield against his own overwhelming grief and the burden of the ghost's command. However, the feigned madness quickly begins to blur with genuine psychological turmoil. Hamlet's strange behavior attracts the attention of the Lord Chamberlain, Polonius, who is an officious, pompous, and frequently wrong-headed advisor to Claudius. Polonius believes Hamlet's madness is caused by unrequited love for his daughter, Ophelia. Polonius uses Ophelia to spy on Hamlet, turning her into a pawn for the court. In one of the play's most cruel scenes, Hamlet confronts Ophelia, demanding she get thee to a nunnery, savagely rejecting her, whether to protect her from his bloody plans or to emphasize his feigned madness, or perhaps both. This rejection destroys Ophelia, who truly loved him, leading to her subsequent descent into madness, and ultimately, death. Hamlet is an intellectual, and his primary conflict is not one of courage, but one of certainty. He needs proof that the ghost was truly his father's spirit, and not a demon sent to trick him into damnation. This existential crisis leads to the play's central dramatic action, the play within a play, or the mousetrap. Hamlet hires a traveling troupe of actors to perform a play that closely mirrors the scenario of his father's murder. He watches Claudius intently, looking for a reaction. When the actors stage the poisoning scene, Claudius bolts from his seat, demanding light and ending the play. This outburst is all the proof Hamlet needs. The ghost spoke the truth. Immediately after gaining definitive proof, Hamlet finds Claudius alone, kneeling in a desperate attempt to pray for forgiveness. This is the perfect opportunity for revenge. Yet, Hamlet hesitates. His reasoning is meticulous and devastating. If he kills Claudius while the king is praying, Claudius's soul might go to heaven. Hamlet's vengeance requires Claudius to be in a state of sin, so he can be damned just as old King Hamlet was. This scene is the thematic heart of the play. It exemplifies Hamlet's fundamental weakness, his inability to act decisively. He constantly substitutes thought for action, finding philosophical excuses to defer his bloody duty. The audience recognizes the tragic irony. Claudius later reveals his prayer was hollow. He could not truly repent. If Hamlet had struck, he would have achieved his goal. Hamlet finally breaks his inaction, but only rashly and mistakenly. During a confrontation with his mother, he hears a noise behind a tapestry, or arras. Believing the hidden spy is Claudius, Hamlet impulsively plunges his sword through the fabric, only to find he has killed the innocent but meddling Polonius. This accidental murder is the point of no return. It forces Claudius's hand, removes Hamlet's strongest political enemy, Polonius, and immediately unleashes the final fatal sequence of events. Ophelia's madness, Laertes' revenge, and Hamlet's exile. Claudius, now fully recognizing Hamlet as a mortal threat, arranges to send him to England with a letter ordering Hamlet's immediate execution upon arrival. Hamlet, however, intercepts the letter, rewrites it to order the execution of his escorts, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern, and miraculously returns to Denmark after a skirmish with pirates. He returns ready to face his fate. Hamlet's return is marked by the devastating scene in the graveyard. He encounters the gravediggers, engaging in a macabre, witty conversation about mortality. This culminates in him holding the skull of the former court jester, Yorick, delivering one of the most poignant speeches on the universality of death. Alas, poor Yorick! I knew him, Horatio. It is here that Hamlet seems to achieve a kind of grim peace and acceptance of his own mortality. He realizes that all human striving, all the ambition and action he had struggled with, ends the same way. He finally accepts that the time for reflection is over. Now is the time for readiness. The scene is interrupted by the funeral procession for Ophelia, who has drowned after her mind broke. Hamlet confronts Ophelia's brother, Laertes, who is consumed by a legitimate need for vengeance for his father, Polonius, and sister. Claudius, ever the schemer, capitalizes on Laertes' grief, engineering the final terrible plot, a rigged fencing match between Hamlet and Laertes. The plot has two safety measures. Laertes' sword will be unbaited, sharpened, and poisoned, and if that fails, Claudius will offer Hamlet a victory cup spiked with poison. The final scene is a masterclass in tragic domino effects. Queen Gertrude, watching her son, toasts him with the cup and drinks the poison first, dying. Hamlet is cut by Laertes' poisoned sword. The swords are accidentally exchanged in the heat of the duel, and Hamlet wounds Laertes with the poisoned blade. Laertes, realizing the plot has consumed them all, confesses the king's treachery. In his final moments of action, Hamlet finally, brutally, kills Claudius, forcing him to drink the remaining poison. All the main characters, Claudius, Gertrude, Laertes, and Hamlet, die on stage. Hamlet ends in an absolute bloodbath, proving that the price of delayed vengeance is the destruction of an entire kingdom. As Hamlet dies, he names Fortinbras as the worthy successor to the Danish throne and asks Horatio to live to tell his story and set the record straight. His final words are the only logical conclusion to his profound introspection. The rest is silence. The tragedy of Hamlet lies not just in the deaths, but in the central tension between thought and action. It asks whether profound thinking is a virtue or a crippling liability in a world that demands brutal, immediate response. It is a timeless investigation into existential doubt, political corruption, and the crushing burden of a command from beyond the grave. If this deep dive into the mind of the Prince of Denmark left you thinking, please hit that like button right now. Comment below and share your final interpretation. Was Hamlet a tragic hero or a fatal procrastinator? And for more comprehensive analyses of the greatest plays and novels ever written, be sure to subscribe to the channel and ring that notification bell. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next analysis.